Yo, what up, y'all? Cherries and Bunions back in the building, and today I'ma continue with my tutorial with Shorty sitting on the couch, and then I'ma have dude coming in the scene. Well, actually, right now I'ma just draw the guy, and I'm prepping. This tutorial is gonna be like what it take to prep the scene for animation where the two characters interact, which is going to be this female and the guy that we drew previous. And as you can see, I'm drawing different mouth shapes, and each mouth shape is called a phoneme. So I'm gonna just duplicate a mouth and draw different mouth shapes. And this is Moho Pro, so when you draw different mouth shapes, you could put all those drawings, which will be on separate layers, and put them within a switch layer, which is a switch layer is a form of a group layer. And the layers panel is on the right side of the screen, and you can create different type of layers, and the layers you will put all the mouth shapes in is going to be called the switch layer, which is gonna and then when all the mouth shapes are in that switch layer, you can animate your character talking. And within this program, which is Moho Pro, you can do automatic lip syncing, which gonna speed up your workflow tremendously, because animating on the mouth movement when talking could be the most time consuming part of animation. But with this program, it has an automatic lip syncing feature, so that's a great thing. But if you within another program, like say um, program like OpenTunes or Blender or one of them other programs, there's a program which is free called Papagayo, which could be an add-on to those programs where you can do automatic lip syncing by importing the mouth files, the mouth shape files into that program, and create an automatic lip syncing. So automatic lip syncing is definitely a feature that speeds up your workflow, but don't overuse that feature, because there's gonna be situations where you're gonna have to manually have the mouth shapes because you want to achieve like a certain effect, like somebody yelling or talking in slow motion, or doing some facial expressions that include the mouth. So you might have to manually do the sync the mouth shapes with your audio. But for just basic dialogue, you can use the automatic lip sync feature. And then also, right now what I'm doing is creating the F sound. There's about probably 8 different phonemes, 8 different basic phonemes. You could get away with like 5, maybe even less. Like if you watch a show like The Boondocks, you can see they only use like 2, 3 phonemes when they talk. And if you look at the mouth, it only got like 2 or 3 shapes. And if you look at anime cartoons, they mouth shapes is real minimal too, like 2, 3 shapes. Unless, like I said, they doing something specific, like yelling or talking in slow motion, they might do it manually. But I use about 5 or 6 phonemes, and then use the automatic lip sync feature. And I just do that because when you a solo animator, you have to use as much shortcuts as you can because animation is a real time consuming art form. So all the shortcuts you could use them. You know, it's cool if you want to push out Disney quality artwork all the time and artwork and animation, but you don't have enough time to push out consistent Disney style animation or Marvel style animation and art if you doing this by yourself. If you got a team, you could probably if you got a team, you could speed up your workflow and get more quality animation and art out there. And I'm not even gonna say quality because there's good quality animation and art that's not very realistically animated. Like Dr. Katz is a real successful animation series, and the animation in that is very minimal, and the art is good. The art is good. Like the backgrounds are real good, but the facials, there's nothing realistic about the art in Dr. Katz. And the Legends of Chamberlain Place, their animation is um more movement than a Dr. Katz, but it's definitely not at no Marvel or Disney type level. And you know when South Park first came out, they animation was very limited. They wasn't really focusing on animation. They was focusing on their writing more. Cause when it come to art, you know certain things can carry a project. It don't gotta really be the animation or the realistic art. You know, it's all about style. You know what I'm saying? It's all about style. So, but there, you see me doing the different mouth shapes. I've done this in other tutorials, but one thing about animation, you're going to see me doing a lot of things over and over again in different tutorials because a lot of this stuff is repetition because we living on the planet Earth in the physical universe, and it's a lot of repetition in this realm. So things are going to be done over and over again, which is a good thing. So it's going to be easier for you to learn. And yeah, just check out the tutorial. I'm gonna get into the guy and start detailing his physical frame. And also, you know, when you drawing within this program, you gotta draw with animation in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like these little arts, they real simple and stuff, cause it's not static artwork. I'm drawing all this with animation in mind. So if I was just drawing like a static picture, I would be focusing more on realistic details to make the art more appealing and pop. But animation, you could do that too, but you got to pick your poison, you know. But I think this animation is cool. This artwork is cool. It's like all about style. You know what I'm saying? You know, Shorty got the dreamy eyes with the eyeshadow and the pink hair. You know, the juicy lips. I think she cute. So that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And you can check out my shorts. You know, to see my art activation to show you that I ain't no fraud. I really do this. And I got a movie on my website for sale called Stanky and Taco. That joint is lit. It's some hood stuff, but it ain't for kids. So if you young, it might not. It's not for you. It got graphic material in it, like X-rated content, violence, all that, but not too much violence. But it's all about, it's a comedy, so check it out. It's lit, and you can get that on my website, cherriesandbunions.com. If y'all got any questions, leave me some comments, and I can answer any question about the animation process. And you remember this guy right here? I'm gonna add him into the scene so he can interact with Shorty. And like I said, when you draw an animation, you gotta draw with the animation in mind. So you just don't be drawing like, you see, look at dude head spinning, because that's from the previous animation. That's pretty dope. When you watch your art animate and move, it kind of gets you geeked up. That's how I be feeling. But I took the animation off his head so his head could stop spinning. But it's good to have your faces in different positions, because sometimes dude might be talking and you might see the back of his head or his profile head. And those are not the only head positions. You can have him looking up, have him looking down. Those are other head positions. And remember, when you draw your face, use the guidelines so you could have your character change face positions without it being too complicated. You just follow the guidelines. Because you could draw without guidelines, but for animation, guidelines are good, because animation is all about poses and proportions. So it's always good to have guidelines and stick figures. That's what helps you out with the animation process. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I draw with a lot of stick figures and guidelines and shapes. It helps the whole process, because you drawing things from different angles and different perspectives. So that stuff helps. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to draw the same thing over and over again from different views. But yeah, so when you draw with the vector, you gotta keep in mind also how many points you're using in your drawing, because in your mind you gotta figure out like what points I'm gonna move in the animation process. Like you see me, I'm drawing this guy with this layer. I'm drawing his body with one leg, because I'm gonna draw another leg separately on another layer. When it's animating, it's gonna make it easy when the guy is walking and his legs is overlapping. And I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of animators, they choose to use bones and rigs to make characters walk, and that's cool and all that. I just don't do it, because I just move points around and move layers around. That's what I do, and do frame by frame within the switch layer. Those are the tools I use to animate. Cause one thing about, people think bones are gonna speed up your workflow and stuff like that, and it could, if that's what you perceive in your mind. You gonna make it work, cause that's gonna be your vision. So whatever you perceive you could achieve. But for me, I just think it's just extra work, because you're gonna lay down all the bones and stuff, and the thing about computer programs, they never, a lot of times things don't work out how you expect it to work. So you're gonna do all these bone rigs and stuff, and after you do it, you're gonna expect it to behave a certain way, and it's still gonna be glitchy. That's my experience. So I just, these programs is like anything in life, yo. You don't want to stress them out. It's like a car, you know what I'm saying? When you driving your car, you don't want to be pressing the gas, blowing the AC, blasting the radio, playing with the windows, and all these stuff at the same time, because eventually your car gonna get messed up, and that's just like these programs, you know what I mean? Yeah, the program got a million features, but the more features you use, the more things could go wrong. And the heavier it's gonna be on your computer. So I just try to keep my flow as simple as possible, and then you also gotta understand animation is a time consuming process, so you try to do your stuff as simple as you can, you know what I'm saying? Keep your flow as simple as you can, but you still want it to be stylistic, and um you still want it to be stylistically appealing, but at the same time you want to keep your workflow simple and your computing resources light. You know what I mean? You start using all the features, the physics, the bones, the 3Ds, the this, the that, and the third. Then that's more things that could go wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like with the car industry, like I was referencing earlier, people want simple cars now because they got these cars with all these electronic features and this, that, and the third. And now people can't fix their car because they too complicated. And not only that, more things is going wrong with them because the cars is not simple. You know what I'm saying? So simplicity is key so you can get your workflow going. And that's how I teach the animation. Like I said, I show you how things is done. You know, I show you how things is done, like the real workflow or what it takes. Because when you animating, first of all, you gotta follow a blueprint, a plan. That's why I say you gotta keep writing. Your writing is your plan, your storyboard, and that's the tactics you take, and that's the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? And then once you in your mind, you gotta know exactly. I mean, at points you're gonna improvise, but in your mind, you gotta have a idea of what's gonna happen, and then you're gonna realize you don't need all those complicated things, cause you got your plan. You stringing shots together to make big scenes, and each shot don't require all these complicated processes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just take traditional animation skills, frame by frame. You throw a few pictures in a switch layer and then do a frame by frame sequence to achieve the outcome of that specific shot. But the beautiful thing about this program and all programs with this computerized digital world we in, you're gonna you can reuse assets. So if I'm drawing this sneaker right here, these sneakers right here, I could use those same sneakers in another file. So I don't gotta keep drawing them over and over again. So there's a lot of shortcuts and benefits to using these digital technologies for your animation, but you still gotta use the traditional styles and skills and techniques like frame by frame and drawing and all that. But I'm drawing this guy right here, and then you know what I'm using. I'm using the Moho Pro program, and I'm drawing within the program using the tools on the left side of the screen, like the add points tool and the manipulate points tool, the curvature tool and the line width tool and the shapes tools. Those are the tools I use to do these drawings. Like right now I'm using the add points tool. See, I add the points, I make a shape, and then I color the shape, and then I use the manipulate points tool to move the points around. I just use the hide points tool. I use the hide edge tool to hide that edge so I can have the shapes, the two layers meshed together. And you see right now I'm using the manipulate points tool to shape the hand to the desired look that I want. And that's how you draw with vector drawing. In this program, you move the points around. So basically, you know, and then you just add points. I'm adding points right here because I wanna and remember, this is the digitized look of the file. When you render it, that's when it really look cartoony when you render it. So you don't gotta it's gonna look a lot better when it's rendered. Yeah, but this is the animation process. This is what you do all day. It's very therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? It keeps your mind occupied. It's just something to do. Manifest and create. Manifest, express your mind, and then you can escape to alternate realities through your art. Live out. Instead of going out there and wilding out in the world, put your wilding in your art, yo. You know what I'm saying? Wild out in your art, yo. You could be the craziest, most rambunctious person in your art, yo, and everybody's gonna love it. But you go out there in the real world and try to get crazy, you gonna feel the repercussion. It ain't gonna be nothing nice. You know what I'm saying? So don't hold back when it come to your art, yo. Be the most stupidest, craziest person you want to be. Live out all your alter egos in your art. And then you don't gotta worry about the repercussions, except for the haters. The haters always gonna hate. They gonna look at your art and have some greasy stuff to say, and the critics is gonna say this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? But it's all right. Just be yourself. And I'm just drawing a little side hand right here. Watch my tutorials. Peep my last tutorial. I got the firearm blasting in my last tutorial, showing you how to animate that. It's a pretty cool tutorial. And yeah. But yo, I just drew a dude, and then I just drew shorty mouth position so she could talk, and I'm gonna put all that together probably in the next tutorial. Yo, y'all be safe, yo, and check out my website, cherriesandbunions.com. Cop my movie. You can get free hip hop beats. I got all that. But yo, y'all be safe, yo. Peace.